scrolling in here a little bit. I kind of wanted to go over the effortless power of a throw and explain a little bit of the uh, use of the trail arm. And there is a lot of different ways, but you either can use your right side to throw or backhand, uh, like in tennis, but with the pendulum. But when I see people, the majority, 99.9%, almost 99%, um, they um, have a hard time knowing how hard to backhand and when, and they'll pull with their shoulder and they'll do all that kind of other stuff, right? So, what I want to do is talk about the right hand. Second here. Okay. And I got this little cool device. It's a 3D printing thing here from First Move golf.com, and it just kind of clicks onto your golf club here. And just a little reference, all it is when you swing your hand back, the the arrow points at an angle where the club is on line as it goes through. And this is what the right hand does. And we're going to talk a lot about details about the right hand and how that moves the whole golf club in your basic trail side. And we're going to talk about exactly how the arm goes because I see more people succeed by right hand throw than I have almost any other method that I teach. And the reason why is because most people do things with right hands, but this has got a bad rap over time where this has basically been like the antichrist, so to speak, right? I mean, it's that, like people like don't touch it, like everything's left side pull, left side pull. And so the reason why there's effortless power is you want to create a wrist angle, which then makes the elbow angle fold, which then makes the arm go into external rotation, which is where it stays. Now, when you throw your arm, first of all, look how much, if I put my left hand to it, look how much my shoulder has to now move and how my arm has to go back for my weight to be in my right leg. So if I'm right here, my first move now is going to be that this whole arm, and I'm going to talk about internal, external, it's going to stay external. So that's internal. This is external. So when I put it here, I'm going to have my whole arm stay external because that is a throwing motion until well into here, where basically the golf club, if you kind of see, it's in the middle, almost the middle of my body. And that is like a pendulum. Now the club, the hand and arm and the elbow straighten and the shaft leans forward. And then the hand goes under like that. That is the extension. And when you get that, now you've created an angle and now you can then release the angle. So people that try to take the club back just with shoulders or the arm can just kind of float back. And now you've got to create some kind of angle. Tour pros can do that. That's not you guys. The easiest way to do this is to have the very first motion in practicing this, just pitching pennies, where the wrist bone moves, the scaphoid right here moves, and that sets this elbow. And when that happens, your golf club is on this circular plane. So now make sure that you just keep your arm external and you can practice slowly with this. Remember, internal, external. So it's external and it stays that way all the way right in here. Now, when that happens, you'll also notice that my body can't open a whole bunch because if it opens a whole bunch, I'm now pushing the club through and the extension is much later. So when people try to throw and turn their body too much, you'll see that it's real easy to spin out like that. Also, when you do the trail arm throw, what happens is this no longer is going to be a big lateral move, because when you go lateral, you're moving more left side and now you have a tilt. So all you're going to do is stay level and let your arm start to feel like it's throwing under, and your left hip has to get out of the way and the chest has to open appropriately, the correct amount, as you then unwind. When the problems come, that when you put your left hand on the club, if it is not in this backhand grip motion, then you have it where the golf club doesn't go through. So when I do this and I set the hand and I start letting the arm swing, you'll see that there's the throw and release, and that's what makes my left elbow fold, is the arm being straight here through extension. So if this arm is straight, this arm has to be bent. It's if you turn your body, you can keep both straight. But if you release this angle here, this arm will be bent there, like that. All right, so I'll start looking at answering some questions here a little bit. I know people are saying hi to me, and you'll be able to go back and see this a little bit. But we're just talking about effortless power and how to use the trail hand and arm. And if you didn't see it, it's firstmovegolf.com is this little bitty device here that a buddy of mine sent me, that was a 3D printer, and you just click it on and you can kind of see the path of the hand as it goes like that. Um, so the biggest thing to practice is setting. Now it's not cocking. Cocking the golf club is like this. Cocking the club is using your left hand to push down while the right hand cocks, and the grip end goes this way. And if you're throwing a ball, your right wrist moves. Now, you can also put your finger like as a pendulum, and you see this is not what I want. When the right hand hinges back, you can see where the grip end goes. Now I'm set. So, interestingly enough, that when this golf club here when this arm stays external and I come back to throw it, it goes right back to the middle, which is a pendulum here, and then it unwinds like that. So don't try to pull down, just let the arm throw to the target, and you'll keep this trail wrist in there as it goes to throw. And that's where power comes from, is this angle winding up and then letting that angle go. Okay, so I'm gonna say hello to everybody. Hello, hello, hi, hello. Yep. Tip to get my wrist set at the top of the backswing as much as possible. Right. So it actually starts right here. So it starts right here. So if you were going to throw a ball just to the wall, say it's 10 feet in front of me here, you wouldn't do this or this. You would just have this little right here. So this is what happens in a throwing motion, trail side dominant golf swing, like so. And you can see how my wrist bends. And when that does, that makes the elbow fold. And now I'm in the correct position here to unwind. Okay? So it doesn't go here and then at the top. It can, but I mean, now you're talking about cocking and pulling down and throwing all at the same time. I'm not talented enough to do that. So some people are. Some people are. Long drop guys, etc. Sometimes they maybe take the golf club back so fast that they have so much momentum that the golf club is further out as their arm folds, because they're over here when they're throwing, right? So it brings up an interesting point. So once you wind up your hand here, you can see how my head now has rotated and my body rotated, because I'm not just taking my hand and arm back right here, right? My left shoulder doesn't reach there. So the chest does move, right? But it's responding to the hand and arm going. And now you can see. So if I was going to throw it really far, I would wind it up, and you can see how my left hand could get here, and it's over top of my head. But my angle of my elbow and my arm is a throwing position to now have the whole arm come back into here, which is what everybody wants. And everybody talks about the lag and all of that. And that's right there where that comes from, because that is where every tour pro wants to be. You're like a bicep curl, right? Right into here as you then unwind, right? Again, don't pull down though. But if you pull down, now your body will throw you the opposite way. You tend to pull hook irons consistently on TrackMan appears to be club face closed. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, oh, and your grip is neutral? Oh, interesting. All right. So, okay, so let's talk about neutral for a second, Jared. When your hand making sure that your left hand, and this is called a scaphoid, this little bitty soft pocket of your bone right here, and it cocks straight up like so. So if your hand can do that, that's neutral. If it's turned like this a little bit, it's restricted. And what'll happen is the club face will be shut at the top, and it'll be like bowed or laid off. And then you can't throw because if you throw, it's going to be worse. So what you have to do with your bowed is you have to actually pull and hold open the face, and you're losing distance that way, though. So, so the idea is just to, if you can get it to where you see my grip here, and this is what hands do, they just put it right on your shoulder. If you put it right on your shoulder and then turned your body back, there would be your trail arm throw position. So, if it's not that, it could be the correct grip, and you could be just tilting your body. See, so if I tilt my body left, the club face is going to stay shut as well. So then the forearms didn't rotate because you took it back with like your shoulder like that. So even if your grip is correct, that doesn't mean that the golf club is automatically going to be in a perfect position. I could have a perfect grip and tilt my body this way, and the party's over, right? And I had a perfect grip. That makes sense. Sorry about that. I hate that you're fighting some hooks, but yep. And that's the and if you go back, I mean, I put 100 something videos out. And thank you guys for following, liking, subscribing. Um, so when I'm talking about the circular arc, it really is that. And then just bend your spine over. You know, so if I did that right there, watch, there's my wrist bone. And I've said this since like day one, but now if I bend over, you'll see that I'm in the correct position now to throw, right? And then when I do that, my arm has to fold over here, uh, equal amount there and there. So if you try to turn your body to do it, your elbows won't fold, right? And that's the reason why if I was said, okay, I'm going to swing in a circle and keep my elbows in close to my body, it would look like this. Can you see how my elbow is stuck in? See, doesn't mean I couldn't hit the golf ball. It just means that it's really restricting compared to that, which the elbow is still down, right? But it just now moves inside the shoulder socket like it's supposed to. So ask questions all you want. The first part of the video was a little bit about how the trail hand and arm goes, and I'm here for you guys. So I, wish I'd have learned all that before. Now, if you're a backhander and you play well, then great, keep doing that. But it's real. I don't know. There's not as many people that are left side dominant where they have a tendency to pull their shoulder, and then from here, you know, um, they don't get this motion coming through. Doesn't mean that you can't do that. It's just that's not what you want. Questions? So the way I practice is a lot of right hand, and I've gotten more and more success from people just teaching them to throw. My best lessons and the quickest way and the quickest drastic turnarounds are teaching people how to use this hand, wrist, and forearm correctly here, to where then put their hand there, and you'll see how the arm has to be soft and no tension. And then instead of, especially for people that pull the club down and turn the body drastically, like so, you can see where my golf club is way behind me, so I'd have to play way catch up. And so it just teaches people to use that. I'm not telling you to not move the body. Body moves a whole bunch. And you remember if you've watched my videos, the pressure shifts happen too. And all of that happens with you when you start winding your hand up and then throwing. And you can see how I'm underneath it right here and then unwind. I know it was all right. So and the biggest thing too is there we go, is when I had this before, and if you don't have the correct grip, then you can't get your hands up over your shoulder. Um, so it is hand driven, but the body is supporting and moving. So if I just shifted and shifted and shifted and shifted, you see that it doesn't really, it only moves, the golf club only moves to here. See, the only way to get this golf club over your shoulder is through this wrist bone doing that. It has to happen at some point. You know, even people that think about moving their shoulder and moving the club back in kind of one piece here. Okay, so but at some point, how do I get this golf club over my shoulder? This wrist joint has to do that at some point. So some people do it later. Some people do it as right off the bat. Pure circle, it would just have a nice general flow to it, just like you're throwing a ball. And if you try to move your shoulder joint, then you have to create an angle and cock your hand to get the club over your shoulder. But in layman terms, all you're doing is, um, and Manuel de la Torre had it right. Um, Basically, you're just taking your hands and having the club over your shoulder, and then you're taking your arm in one continuous motion to the target. And that's as simple as it can be after studying everybody and everything. That that really is as simple as a golf swing can become. Oh, great question, Hugh. So, since you're discussing a neutral left hand grip, a little bit. So, I have the feeling, first of all, my grip is very light in general. Just like I practice holding a golf ball or like a little weighted baseball, and I want my wrist joint to be very supple and to wind up like my wrist. I want them like that. That's how fast I want them to go because they'll throw it faster. If I tighten up, then I can't set this hand. So the left thumb, when I have it here, and I put the golf club in my phalanx of my second, the second phalanx of my finger of my right hand, and once I set that there, this is just lightly. I don't squeeze anything, so it's just lightly hanging there. I did, and I said I've learned, I've watched everybody, and his name escapes me. But he had his thumb off the shaft completely like this, and so I experimented with that as well. But the problem was with me is my left hand wanted to then flatten for whatever reason. So for me, the thumb has to be here to support the weight and to keep that slight little bit of neutral or cup, slight cup at the most, just because I'm a little bit cupped at setup because that's how my hand hangs. But I don't have any. See, I'm not squeezing. If I squeeze like that, I'm dead. I don't have any club head speed from there. So um, it's just a free flowing throw. And anytime you try to put the golf club somewhere and you tighten up, you're going to tighten up your forearm and something like that, and it's going to go off plane. I hope that answers the question of that. And neutral grip is just how your hand hangs. So then you cock the club up and down like that with the wrist joint. So neutral for if you turn it too much to the left like that, then the wrist bone works this way. And then I would just practice throwing a ball, and I would also like a weighted, um, like a weighted baseball, like sand, like a sand weight, and just wind up and then just throw it, just kind of throw it down right down by the down right where the ball goes there. So that to me is one of the easiest feels because when you do that, you're not extending your arm like that. You're keeping this whole arm external as it's coming down to throw. And the counterbalances happen as well. You kind of see that when I throw. See my weight is shifting back left while my arms are going back, just like a natural, just like a natural throw in motion. See, I'm not going up here and winding up because then my head moved off. So if your head moves off the ball, you won't have a counterbalance. So the head rotates, right? Swing circle center is the back of your neck. But then when you wind up your hand, when you do that, your weight will automatically start to shift back left while your arm is going back. And then that's what helps you get the feeling of being and having throwing. And that brings up another little thing, understand it, that the weight is going to be and the pressure is going to be more on your right foot. It's not going to be shifted over here on your left, right? A trail side dominant throw will never have this lateral shift because you'll dump the angle. So, and if I put a golf, see if you can kind of see. I know I got my screen's not on, but if you can see like right here, when I wind up here and I throw, this isn't going to go this way. My arm goes, and you can kind of see, look at my spine stayed back like that. It doesn't go forward like that. See, there's no shift. That's totally different. That's when you're swinging like you're walking and you're old school pushing your right foot over to a support post of your left leg and then releasing. But when you throw, there's a little shift as the arm is going back, the weight's going left, and then all my weight and pressure's here as I'm unwinding. Hope that helps. I know I just put this video together. I was kind of I made a couple of videos that were extensive, and you know, stupidly didn't have the great camera angle that I wanted, and so kind of null and void. So I'm just throwing out a live for you guys. I know a lot of people follow me, so I'm trying to stay up with you guys and hopefully help you guys. I had some zooms this morning, and now doing this. So hope everybody's having a good day. It's cold here in Tennessee. Not sure if it's cold wherever you guys are at, but hopefully you guys are learning something. So ask me a question. And again, you can go back and watch the first part of this video and you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, absolutely. So Hugh, yeah, so he's been putting a big amount of pressure in his last three fingers, which is what they've been telling you to do. But the problem of it is that then you squeeze, and then what happens is when you squeeze it, then you're going to release it like that, right? And also, it's never going to have the hand set. So, and I know this goes against a lot, and I've had this in one of the videos, but my hands are so light that when I wind up the throw here, that my hand ever so slightly, and I don't instinctively open it. I'm not telling you to open your fingers, right? That's not what I'm telling you to do. But my grip pressure is so light that the golf club literally will pull away and it's just resting in the joints there of the finger. So because I don't want to have any squeezing. If I have any squeeze, watch what happens when I squeeze. Look at this. The golf club will change path. So if I ever squeeze my hand and try to take the club back, the golf club is going to be over here. And that does not look like a very good throwing position, does it? Compared to here. So that's why lighter grip pressure allows the right wrist bone and joint to wind up. And the left hand should just feel like it's just going along for the ride. Trust me, it is active and it has a backhand, and this joint is going to bend like it's supposed to, like so. And so then it straightens by centrifugal force right at the ball and then unwinds. It does all that. But if you squeeze it, then you stop all of that. Okay. It's a real good way to say that. At what point with iron swing is your 1 foot balance lead foot in the downswing? So on on a throw, like so you and then Stephen, welcome to the party. Um, so it's you can have two different ways. One, if you swing like you walk, then it's going to be a more of a left side dominant, and you will shift over, and like a Scotty Scheffler, you'll have and Jack Nicklaus, etc. You'll have weight on this left leg, and then the golf club kind of whips through. In a just dominant trail side throwing, it really just comes down to where does your arm go? which is the reason why most people get so much better when I teach them to throw than anything. Because if you'll see this when I'm throwing, if I throw, or maybe I'll do this way. So if I'm throwing and I'm going to hit a driver, I'm going to throw more up, and you'll see how my spine's tilted a little bit, pressure's on my right foot, right? And then when I'm throwing to say hit an iron, I'll throw my arm more down here. And you'll see there's a little more pressure on my left, but it's still trail side. So I'm not shifting laterally ever, even though if I'm throwing low, you watch my left side right here when I'm throwing low. See, it didn't go this way. Pelvis didn't go this way, right? And if you want to throw it lower or throw it out to the right or left to hit a draw or a cut, just like you would if you're throwing a ball. To say if I was throwing a ball up over the net, my arm would go up here. If I was throwing it down low, it'd be here. So on an iron, you're obviously going to try to throw it just generally at the target where your arm is going to be like parallel to it. And then if you want to hit down, if it's like out of a divot or something, then you'll throw it more down in front of you. And if you're going to hit driver, you're going to hit up. But it's still the same trail arm. Is your left hand thumb go straight down the shaft or the side? Oh, the side. Oh, 100% the side. Okay. So this is here. Okay. Is this thumb is on the side of the shaft because at the top of the golf swing, the thumb supports, you can see it this way, thumb supports the weight. Okay. There we go. Now, if I take this and I extend my thumb, you see I don't have support. And if I put it if I put it in the middle, then my left wrist bone I can't drink, I can't do anything. So from there, even if I tried to throw with my right hand and arm, my left hand would go this way. So the thumb has to be on this side because what that does is that takes the whole forearm internally, rotates the whole forearm, which allows the wrist to make this motion. So the thumb has to be on this side. Thank you, Mary. I really appreciate that. Okay. Hey, Roger, Mike from Scotland again. Yep, man. Could you clarify left arm lead swing versus right arm throw? Yes, I can. So, so a left hand backhand? If that's your the way your brain sees things, then the left wrist joint is going to be in this position, and practice making circular motions here and then backhanding. So when you backhand, you're going to have a little bit more in the left hip, going a little bit more to the lead side, if you can see that. And then from here, so you set a post and then the club whips. So right hand, you don't have the shift, and the left hand you do. Because watch this. If I was to backhand and not have a shift, my axis would tilt me the other way. When I move my right arm forward, it sets my weight left while my hip goes behind me. Real hard to have someone that say like a John Daly, etc. They always have this little lateral shift this way because that sets the post for the arm to then catch up to. Totally different. Again, I don't know how hard to backhand someone, so this is not a natural feel for me where the right hand and arm going this way is. So watch my right hand and arm, see how I'm back, and then watch my backhand throw. See, I had to shift here and then go. Oh, well, thank you. No, no tour players have reached out to me, and I do appreciate that. You're welcome. You're welcome, Roy. Yep. Yeah, I mean, this has only been, and thank you for that compliment. I've only been on YouTube now just right at a year. Um, and but I've been teaching golf now since I was 19. So, all right, what squares the face for you? Hands, wrist, or you don't even think about it and it happens. Man, I wish I didn't think about it and it happens, but no, honestly, when you're again, I'm a thrower, okay? So just like if I was throwing a ball to someone, my hand winds up and then my arm goes to the target. And I have to have though intention. And that's the biggest thing. So it's not what squares the club face up, your mind does. So if I said I'm gonna hit a draw or throw a draw, my arm is gonna go out to the right And my brain is thinking, okay, I'm throwing a draw. If I'm throwing it low, I'm thinking visually like, where would I want my arm to go? How soft do I want it to go? If I want to throw it 320 or 30 or 40 yards, I'm not going to be going down here passively and then trying to whip it. I mean, my arm is moving as fast as I want it to move right from the top, my whole right arm. I wish, and Ben Hogan said it, Nicholas said it, three right arms, etc., hands. This whole arm here, if I want this whole arm to move as fast as possible, and then when it does, it stays external and then unwinds. So if I only was going to hit it 10 yards or 10 feet, then I would just have a very soft little arm swing. So it's intention, right? Now, the biggest thing would be is none of that matters if you do not have these called scaphoids right here, these on top that line up to do this. If you don't have that, then the elbows can't fold and the hands can't hinge correctly. So all that, everything I'm saying doesn't mean a hill of beans if I go here slightly. If I go here slightly, now my forearm can't rotate, and now I'm going to have to manually somehow kind of square the club face up. I hope that helps. Yeah, because it's just one of those. It's just intention, really. So when I get people to swing right hand only, their brain starts to think, "Oh, okay, I'm going to throw." Now, when they throw, most times because you've been told that the right hand you have to turn it over, 100% incorrect. I want you to really understand that. If you're throwing a ball, your arm goes to the target, your trail arm stays. I don't know if you understand this. That's internal, this is external. So I want to make sure I'm telling you guys. Okay, so I'm external, and then my arm goes, and my hand and elbow extend, and my face is like this. Now, that's not how people's golf club finishes, right? That's because the left hand is a backhand motion like this. So I put the right hand throw. Now watch this. I put my left hand, which has to be like this. If it's like this, it's wrong. Then what happens is the hand now, watch, makes it look like I rolled my right hand over. If I roll my right hand over, this is what it looks like. First of all, it goes from external to internal when you roll your hand over. And the reason why you roll your hand over usually is because the left hand grip is incorrect and you've got a body that you're trying to turn your body and keep your left arm straight and head still. So it looks something like this. And so when you come down into impact, the face is wide open. So you've got to figure out some kind of way to square it. And that's what happens. Okay. So get the grip right, practice the throw, and let that arm go down. Now, some people will say skipping a rock, and I've had a little bit of beef with that because what happens is because then you're changing your spine angle much lower. Doesn't mean you can't do that. I'm just 52 years old and I don't want to. So from here, you then have your right arm has to stay down lower and your body has to open up more, to unwind it, like skipping a rock. So to me, it's not really skipping a rock. It's just keeping the same level here. The head will go down some, but because the spine is tilting a little bit like so, and the longer that you'll hit it, the further that you hit it, the more that arm will come down and your head will kind of sink. So you can kind of look where my head here is with the net, and then when I'm throwing, you can kind of see that I'm just a little bit under it, like so. So even me, I'm a little bit under it. I just can't go down there. Doesn't feel good. What keeps you from casting and not having enough shaft length? Yeah, that's same thing. Same thing I just said. So casting comes from um, this is hand. See, so I'm not doing anything with my hand, right? My hand is what takes it over the shoulder. See, my hand winds up. So watch hand that winds up the forearm, and now my golf club is here. So now my whole arm stays external. See, and then unwinds. It's my arm. And it's your arm coming, your arm's connected all the way into your navicular bone here. So that's why when you throw with your whole arm being external, it starts here. So watch. See, it has to go together that way. So that's why there's this slight, what I call lowering a little bit to keep that angle there, like so. And the nape of your neck is your swing circle center, so it just rotates. The back of the neck rotates. Okay. So even if I did that, my head didn't move, my back of my neck didn't move. So even here, when I come down this way, you can see how my spine, now look at my chin. My chin is in line with my xiphoid process, which I've talked about in other videos before, right? And so then you unwind. Any drills on stopping upper body tilting, moving towards target, and transition to downswing? Yeah, absolutely. So I would just get the right hand only, and just start practicing with just simple as this. Just get a ball in your hand and start throwing it that way. Start throwing it down the fairway that way. Okay. Because if you do this and you start going this way, you're going to release it that way. Right. So when you wind your hand up and then throw your arm, look what happens. See? And then the left hand, if the grip is correct. And I would just do this a lot. And how I became a really great ball striker with this is working at Country Hills. And again, I said this in the video, but and I know a lot of people can't follow everything I've done, right? But there's a creek in the middle of our driving range. And so I've got every Tuesday, Thursday night in the summertime, we've got probably 500 to 1,000 balls against the fence, and the picker can't pick it up. So I'm just, I'm going out there after I close, and I'm literally bending my right wrist back, and I'm just hitting these chip shots, and I'm walking, and I'm clicking every one of them perfect. And I grooved for months, just this wrist doing this. So then it became extension. So then once I got here, well, then I could go back further. And all of a sudden, I'm just knocking down flag sticks from 30, 40, 50 yards away with just my right hand and arm. And then I started just putting my left hand on it, and it was just the correct grip going along for the ride. And I grooved it within probably, I don't know, 3, 4 months or so. Um, and really haven't changed it since then, because that was like bingo, that was the answer. And then it just kind of folded up to where I was like, oh, that's a circle. And, then kind of the study of physics and kinesiology kind of put it together. All right. So, hope that helps. So, yeah, I would just practice with the ball, right hand and arm, and just practice that, especially if you're somewhere in the wintertime. You got plenty of time. Should I get fit for clubs? I've been playing around 3 years, shooting around 95. E. All right. So, number one, um, and I even worked at Edwin Watts in Nashville, Tennessee, and they're good guys. And we would even say this as well, that and the studies were done that after 1 year of you playing and just really caring about your golf game. I mean, I'm talking like you're playing 2 or 3 times a week. You've had lessons. You did this, and whatever you're shooting is what you're going to shoot pretty much for the rest of your career. Now, that's not trying to be mean. That's because you have a certain movement pattern that you have, and that um, unless you change that movement pattern completely, that's what you'll shoot. Now, golf clubs, lighter, heavier, maybe could help a few shots here or there. Um, 99% of the golf clubs, standard length, standard lie, fits people. I'm 6'3", um, probably about 215 or so. I've got 44 long arms. I wear 34 waist legs. Why is that important? Nothing. I play standard length clubs. Like you would think that my golf clubs would be taller and all that, but it just worked out that with the correct posture, and you can check yourself where you put a golf club behind your shoulder blade, and it goes right across the top of your knee and the ball of your foot. When your arm hangs straight down, where your hands about one hand width away from your leg, and that's where mine was. So if I got taller golf clubs or more upright clubs, they'll be like this. Now, that being said, I would say if you're not having at least golf club technology wise, now this is a whole nother question. Golf club technology wise, if you have something within say 5 years or so, um, the 3 to 5 years, then you're good. If you have something that's 10 or 15 years, then you're losing distance because the faces now are thinner, and the thinner the face, the more ball speed you have. So if you're lacking some distance, Mary, maybe a lighter ladies club Go to like an Edwin Watts type where you take your 7 iron and hit it compared to a newer model and see if there's a difference in it. I don't really believe in the whole custom fit part because I always had this question of, well, do you want me to fit you for your crappy swing or do you want to try to change your swing and then get close? I would try to work on changing your motion and then being able to do that because I've seen it now where um, I can still go out and shoot par with ladies clubs or regular flex clubs or senior clubs. I remember giving a lesson to a guy that had senior clubs and I hit probably 15, 20 balls for him and just demonstrating the throw in motion. And he was like, those are all senior clubs. And I was like, yeah, it doesn't really matter. The reason why is because when you're throwing, okay, is you literally are having that is a pendulum motion and so you're not really putting pressure on the shaft because if you're doing that, you're putting pressure on your hand and that makes the shaft bend and changes. So when you go here and your whole arm goes to the target, that golf club is free falling down and then unwinding. So that's why long drive guys will have regular flexes in their shafts as well to help kick extra distance. So I know that's a longer roundabout answer. Hopefully it's fully complete. Just try to change that motion. So have I broken many driver faces? You're welcome, Mary. No, I think I dented in one time over time. It was an old R7, and I just kind of eventually just kind of flattened the face. I don't when I play, I'm just trying to control the throw. When I first of all, I don't play that much. I think I played 6 times this whole year because I teach so much. I don't listen. Don't get craft me Argentina. I lived on cruise ships for 10 years where I played just about every day, and I've played off and on many tours and stuff, but I didn't get really at this level and until later in life. Probably too late for me, but good for you guys to then learn from all my experiences and stuff. So, but I probably swing when I play 120, 125 miles an hour. I'm not I can crank it up to 140, but why? There's not, I have to be all loose and take some time and all that kind of stuff. Uh, I just kind of find that when I kind of make 3/4 chippy throws, I don't know, 18 to 120, 122, 3/4, something that's plenty, especially when you get the right spin rate. So I don't have to do all crazy stuff. Oh, if I wanted to do a Zoom lesson? Yeah, Stephen, it's great. Great question. I have literally given them to like people in their pajamas in their living room, making air swings, to having their own simulator in their basement, or I've had a guy hit plastic balls in California in the backyard. Um, it does not matter. I just have to be able to just see your swing and communicate it because all I'm going to do is just retrain your motion. I don't even have to see anybody hit a ball, and I can tell you why you do what you do and what you need to do to correct it. Where would the hands be? Where would the arms be? It's just that's kind of my gift now is that it doesn't take much. And I can see, people say you can't measure pressure. I can see pressure when people swing if they're putting pressure left or right before they move and how their hips are supposed to move optimally and all that. And then of course we'd also discuss what internal, like what's going on, not just in your mind, the psychology of golf, which is the most interesting part for me, but also then does your body, do you have other, injuries and all that? So it's a very personal relationship, and I get to know you, and what your tendencies are and what you think and what you do. So. I don't really need to see you hit balls. You're more than welcome to go to a driving range. I've seen people do that with a phone or an iPad or whatever, and headphones in and stuff like that. So again, it just doesn't matter. Let's see. Why do you think range practice doesn't always transfer to the course? Oh, that's a great question. I love that. The change in routine mentally, is practice worth it, or do you need the right mechanics coaching to make it fruitful? Absolutely. So, I, I feel like I'm a drug dealer facilitating. something they don't need when most of the time people come to hit golf balls because I look out at the country hills and I look down the row and they all do the same motion over and over and over. And they, and again, what we just, with Mary's question kind of goes with that too is, after 1 year of playing a lot, whatever your handicap is what it's going to be because you've trained that motion. So when you go to a driving range, feel and real is not the same. And to change things, you have to do it, in my opinion, in front of a mirror. I think a video camera is too late. If you take a golf swing and then video it and then go back and look at it, you'll get frustrated because it's not live, not happening live. Whereas like if I'm here in front of this Zoom, if I do this, I'm like, man, that golf club's behind me, my weight went left, right? And then okay, my hands up over my shoulder, and now my weight's transferring back left. Okay, this is right. And with all the countless videos I've done and things or Zoom lessons or my membership that I'll be able to see what you do. I feel like that's the quickest way. I don't minimize hard work, far from it. And I think hitting golf balls are great for you to test what you're doing. But most people never can take it from the driving range to the golf course because one is on the driving range right before you play or so, you're loosening up, you're not thinking about too much, right? And everything's all good. You got hopes and dreams that you're going to play well, and everything's nice and loose, and you're probably making more of a throwing motion, and it's just effortless feeling and all that. And you have zero consequences on the driving range, right? And then you get on the first tee, and now your score matters. And so then tension is probably your number one killer of taking it from the driving range to the golf course. So, whereas, for instance, my brain doesn't think anything changes. It doesn't matter if I play the finest golf course in Hawaii or Scotland or a little Muni. My brain is thinking I'm going to throw, and I blur the distinction. By the way, I don't feel like I have a golf club in my hand ever. I feel like I have a ball just in my right hand, and all I do is wind up my hand and throw the ball down the fairway. So my brain is like, I'm going to throw it to the left, I'm going to throw it to the right, I'm going to throw it up high, I'm going to throw it left, I'm going to throw it right. So my brain has a clear picture of, oh, you're throwing it over here. Oh, you're throwing it over there. And when you do that, then you can then take it from, then it can travel anywhere. And that's when you have it. I hope that makes sense. Hey, Mike from Scotland. Punch shot. Due to weather or wind, any advice? Yep, throw it low. So no, and I talking about the trail hand and arm and underhand throw. So if I was to finish like this all the time and play in Scotland, that would be a very high ball flight, and that would be no bueno. So where your arm goes is where the ball goes. So I'm gonna say that again. Where this arm goes is where the ball goes. So not the hand, right? Arm. So when my arm goes, it's going down the line, and I'll finish here. If I want to try to hit it low, I'll finish here. So that's low, low ball flight, right? Like that. And that's medium and that's higher. So you're welcome, Patch. I hope that helps. And I'm not trying to get on to anybody either. And I also know that sometimes uh, going to a driving range and hitting a bunch of golf balls is a wonderful therapeutic thing. And if you're a practicer, then you try to like want to figure it out on your own. And then I love the jigsaw puzzle that golf becomes. Played if everybody played golf and had figured it out, then we'd probably be out of business and wouldn't I mean, people wouldn't play actually, right? So I don't really play because I don't really have a problem throwing a ball underhanded, and I can throw it down the middle of any fairway on any green, and so there's really not a major challenge. And I know I'm not sitting there being like I'm a tour player or anything because that's a whole nother ball of wax where I'd have to play 6 days a week. I play 6 times a year, so I'm not conditioned at all. Strength wise, yes, but I'm not conditioned at all for tournament golf or mentally to go play. I'm not sitting there saying at all that I'm like that. So, but my brain has it where I don't have to ever really think about the golf swing other than teaching you guys. Good. And Michael, just make sure that when you practice with the right hand and get the hand winding up. It's very easy for a lot of people because they've been told to take the club back in a straight line, that the wrist and the arm goes back in a straight line for a long time, and then you don't have any elbow set, any wrist set. So from there you can't wind up to throw. So you have to be in a throwing position. So even if all I said was take a ball and feel like you're throwing it, don't even feel like anything. Just literally just take your hand back over, then that's where the golf club would be. And then if your body when it turns, see, look where my hand and arm goes. See, and then obviously my hand and arm can't get there, right? So when my shoulder goes to turn, my hand and arm will be back, and there you can see I'm in a throwing position. This matches this, and this hand matches this, and the shaft matches the arm, and all that other jazz that you want to talk about. So that's a great way of practicing that. You know, hands just go right over the shoulder, and then hands go over the shoulder on the other side. Well, when the hands go over the shoulder on the side, I can't flip my hand. It's my arm is what has to take it there to finish on the other side, and that's what'll make that elbow fold. Hope that helps. I love the questions. I'm glad I was able to do this a little bit. Like being in touch with you guys. Leave comments. Watch my other videos. See if you understand a little bit. And this is not. This is all talking about trail side effortless power. Okay, trail side effortless power throwing, not the backhand where you have to shift left first and then backhand. Oh yeah. So first move golf. Sorry, I didn't even pay attention to this. Firstmovegolf.com. They made like a little 3D printing thing that they sent me, and all this is when I swing it back, the arrows point. It's hard to see. I'll kind of make a little close up here. See, so when I swing it back, the arrow points the directions that it's supposed to go. So and you can kind of see it. So I just thought it was kind of cool. Um, they good some good people out there, and also the putter. So same putter company from my putter. Show you guys this. It's pretty cool. So so you can see it's my putter by Victo. It's got the curved face to it. So and I made it where it's upright. Now I'll talk about putting for a second, just because. So again, to if I move my arms back, my weight wants to move and move opposites of the weight. Okay. So I just take my wrist bone, okay, this scaphoid, and I'm just rolling the ball. And so I use my hand, I wind my hand up, and then my arm to the target. Not my hand, but my hand arm. So even with my putting, I'm still just looking at the target and rolling a ball. Just like I had a ball in my hand, I'm just rolling the ball that way. So anyway, they're good people. The my Victo, my putter, they got all kinds of styles of that. And then yeah, firstmovegolf.com is the little 3D printing thing. So anyway, I just kind of experimented with it and the feeling of it. So but you can see how I'm always throwing, always throwing. And when you throw, watch my left hip back. See, it goes back behind me. Now that doesn't mean I go here and then turn my left hip behind me. Then my arm goes opposite this way. And there's some people that really have this wrong. They get it here, and then they're trying to get you to go here, and then turn through the ball like this, trying to get sure that left hip gets back out of the way, like so. But don't understand really that it's just the arm going to the target that does it. See, so my arm it does not go left. So watch this. My right arm goes to the target. When my right arm goes to the target right here, my left hip has to be out of the way for that to happen. See? So you're not gonna slide. You slide, your golf club's behind you, and your hand will flip and do that. Couldn't make that any more clear. So let's see. I don't get so I just yeah. So Tony, I do not try to get my hips open at impact. I literally am just winding my hand up and throwing my whole arm that is stays external. That's internal. That's external. So wind your hand up and the whole arm goes. And when the arm goes and extends, the left pelvis and hip and femur bone and everything else has to get out of the way for the arm to extend. I don't try to open my body. If I open my body, see, then my arm wouldn't be able to extend. It's the arm that moves the body. Hey, you're welcome, Darren. I have a teardrop putter. Cool, man. I hear they're going to return to business. Well, they might. Now, the difference between, say, my putter and the teardrop is the teardrop, and again, I've been in the golf business a long time, so the teardrop is just a very shallow face. And this one is like machine milled, like regular depth of a putter, and it's got a gradual curve to it where teardrop just had a whole roller. So literally, if you hit under it or above it, um, then it would skid either way. So this one has it where it's a gradual curve to it. So it's a little different, or quite a bit different actually, but it's a similar concept. Any other questions? Oh, and also, since I know Tony well, so just make sure that really practice winding this hand up. A lot of people, I'm going to kind of come in close so you can see this. So when I wind my hand up, it's right here at the beginning. So if I do this, that's my arm and shoulder separating. So my arm and I know Pete Cowan talks about this, and I could never do it. Is going ahead and putting your arm in external and then turning the hand back. But to me, it put it put a tension here and here that I just felt you can even see it just doesn't feel natural. So I just let my hand hang natural. And then when my hand winds up, that turns the forearm. And then as I go, and I'm going to kind of go here so you can see, I'm sorry, I'm a small one here. So as I'm continuing to wind, see, my hand is continuing to wind up. It doesn't stop right here. Your tendency is to stop right here. So continue to let it wind up, wind up, wind up, wind up. And you want that hand to wind up, continue to wind up as it goes. And then the arm goes to the target and then the hand unwinds. So now we'll put it with a golf club and you guys can see this. So hand winds up, winds up, winds up. See, now most people stop right here. See, my hand continues to wind. So as my hand continues to wind, the further I wind that hand up, the further that ball is going to be thrown. Because then when I get the arm down into here, look where my wrist bone is, way back here. And now that speed is there. So if I only go here to throw and use my arm, look at the difference here. And I'm only unwinding that. Now that doesn't that's still not crappy, but it's not winding the hand all the way up. Now, when you wind your hand all the way up, of course, you also have to have flexibility to get your left arm and shoulder over there because when you wind your hand up, your golf club goes further. Whee! All right, next question. Everybody see that? There, and there. And by the way, Tiger Woods is probably the greatest golfer of our time, and he is a right hand dominant thrower. When you listen to his interviews, he doesn't know how his body feels, and he feels everything through his hands. And then he describes everything in kind of his little mannerisms of reachy, draggy, all this other kind of stuff. And he doesn't have this lateral move, and all he does is wind his hand up and throw. And you start to see that when he talks about his father said the same thing. How do you teach a 5-year old? Well, when you say, well, where does your arms finish? Your arm finishes up high. Your arm finishes here. Your arm finishes here to finish it low. Well, what is that? Your hand winds up. arm of the target, throwing a ball. I think Bobby Clampett recommends. Oh, sorry. Bobby Clampett recommends aiming the trail hand at a point 4 inches in front of the ball to encourage the low pivot four in front. You imagine a line uh, from the hand to that spot. Yeah, it can. I never feel like for me that I'm trying to like aim at a spot where I'm throwing. My brain doesn't really like throwing it right at the ground. It does for building speed, right? But when you throw it to the ground, it really wants to extend like right here. So, or say 4 inches here. So, what I try to do is I try to visualize I'm throwing it out here. So, I'm throwing it up high for a driver. I'm throwing it there. It's like if you're standing in front of me and I'm like, okay, let me aim to throw it 4 inches in front of you. I'm throwing it right there, right? Where I'm throwing it to you to where you're standing, right? And that's where I want the ball to go, where the flag is, not down 4 inches in front of me. Let's see. Can I talk about early? Oops, sorry. Can I talk about early extension? Yeah, yeah. So early extension is really nothing more than being out of balance. So when you take your golf club, say behind you, or lift it, and all of those kinds of things, now your weight is going to be on your left. And then what happens is the ground pushes you, and when the ground pushes you, it pushes you up, and it extends the arm and angle, right? So, best way to stop that is to do this trail hand and arm drill I'm talking about, winding the hand up and then throwing the arm to the target. Because you wouldn't wind your hand up and then throw your arm to the target and do this. See, and the other part of that too is that most people that do that have all their weight. Easiest thing is their weight's on their left leg somehow, some way at the top of their swing, and then push back up, and their whole body has to open up to do that. I really haven't seen anybody wind up here correctly and then do that. And if you are doing that, then you're probably driving your foot like so, and your pelvis this way. And then, of course, the other body, everybody will talk about take your left hip back behind you, and that is just as detrimentally wrong. See what that does? So if you turn your hip behind you, your golf club wants to go outside like that. So now you have to do some kind of crazy manipulation this way. So let's not do all that, and let's just let the arm go to the target in an underhand throwing motion. Let's see. Does your right hand wind up immediately? Yes. Yes, it does. Um, no. So great question. Or does the feet, right? So when I wind up to throw, there is still pressure this way. Now, if I'm only throwing a butt, equal and opposites. So what are we talking about? If I'm going this way, I have to have equal force this way. So if I'm only throwing it 5 feet, I'm really not going to have this shift this way. It's just going to be enough power to go like that. But if I'm throwing it 300 yards, now the pressure is going to be here into my left leg a little bit as I'm winding up to throw a ball. Again, just practice throwing a ball itself. You wouldn't just wind your hand up. Okay. You would have a teeny bit of this natural shift. That doesn't mean you go over crazy about it, but you just have that little pressure in your left foot because then you're winding your hand up while the weight's being pushed back into your right foot. And that's what happened. And then what of course will happen is the ground starts pushing you. But instinctively, if you think about throwing a ball, you instinctively do that. Okay. If you stop dead stand still and say, okay, Roger said throw a ball, that is not what I want you to do. Right. It would look like this. Watch. Right. So when I wind up the throw, I have that little pressure here to wind up. It's an athletic motion. So you have to have that. Let's see. I can't seem to find the correct leg action to push the front hip out of the way. Yep. Yeah. So that's why. So you're still focusing on you answered your own question. Can't seem to find the correct leg action. So don't think about the leg. Just make the arm finish here. So watch this. Just even play with me right now. Just wind your hand up here and just make your whole right arm extend straight out to the target. Straight out. Where'd your left hip go? Behind you. I've never seen anybody do this. Extend and be able to get their arm there. Right. So doing leg action is what's causing these problems of this pelvis going all kinds of funky ways. So finish here. See, just like throwing a ball underhand. You finish like that, and your pelvis is out of the way. Oh, thank you. Yes, that's yeah. It's yeah. Blur the distinction. Like I said, I don't feel like I have a golf club in my hand ever. Right. So when you reach this level and you're doing this, then your brain will literally see that you just have a ball in your hand and you're throwing. So you're not even thinking about how. It is the same with ping pong paddle. Same with tennis. Right? So if you take tennis and you go here and you turn your body, you're never going to release it, right? So if you do a crosshand forehand, your arm goes that way. If you try to hit a cut, your hand doesn't do it, your arm does it. Everything in our life, basically, from the time you pick up a drink, your hand does it, and then your arm. So it's your hand and arm. So it's always hand winds up, arm to the target. Drive a car, hand winds up, arm moves it. Okay. Turn a doorknob, hand winds up, arm moves it. I know, kinesiology. Sorry about that. Do you agree with an effortless gravity drop from the top? Nope, don't. I do not. Nope, do not. Nope. So if I get up there to the top and I just go like this with my arm, then that's I mean how far can I throw a ball that way, right? So I want to actively use this whole arm to create the angle, maintain the angle, and unwind. If I do that in a passive manner, I mean I'm just letting it fall, right? So I totally am like up here and now I just let it fall. Right. So no, you have to you have to have the arm go do something. Otherwise it'd be like me saying I could throw a ball from center field to home plate and just let gravity do it. Yeah. And the club doesn't don't you know people like let the club do the work. Club doesn't do a damn thing. It doesn't do a thing. Like it just sits here. Okay, club work. Okay, move. Right. So the only way to move this is this wrist joint. Now watch. Here's my golf club straight ahead. I'm not going to move anything else but this one wrist joint. And that moved 90 degrees. Now I'm going to move this joint by extending my elbow and arm as a follow through. And now it moved another 90 degrees. It moved 180 degrees, just that. Nothing else here. So if I try to do this and then put this golf club in my body, the body does not move the golf club. Feet does not move the golf club. If I literally take my arm and my shoulder back, it's going to go just about maybe 3 feet here. And at some point, my hands have to get the golf club over your shoulder. Your hands are what takes it back, and your arm is what takes it through. You're welcome. Yeah, I've seen Martin Ayers stuff. Yes, and very similar notion how uh, he talks about the pressure is left as well. And then the hand, just another way of saying it. And then when he does the baton drill, the grip goes up this way and then spins under. I think my arm extends more and throwing a ball. That's all. I think his baton twirl drill has his left hand really whipping the club over, but it's still centrifugal force. So, but nothing wrong with it. And if that helps you, great, great. I just like to have. So for me, let's think of it this way. Okay, the way I try to teach the golf swing is with intention. And I know that he talks about that at some point as well. And besides that, yeah, I mean, and I've studied a lot of golf swings and a lot of golf terminology and talking. You really have to, you can't just have it off in the background. You got to really pay attention to what he's saying. But my intention, though, is always that I want my arm to finish where the ball goes. So I want my arm there. So my brain can't see, okay, let's twirl a baton. I mean, I might get a feeling for that, but my brain doesn't like, okay, what am I trying? What's my intention? Well, I'm twirling a baton. So my intention is that I want my hand to wind up and my arm to go to the target. Hope that makes sense. Great question, though. You're going deep down the rabbit hole. I have to go deep down the rabbit holes where so when you guys ask me questions, I know what you guys are looking after. All right, any more questions? Been on a little over an hour, which is fine. If you guys are have any questions whatsoever, and this, of course, I'll it'll be recorded and it'll be live. It'll go on the my web page or my YouTube page, so you guys can kind of if you missed anything, if you're just coming in, some good info there. And I'll be doing a little series about this and on YouTube, so you guys can kind of put it in your folders. And my goal for you guys is to be able to take this and then go play and play better and hit the ball a little further. And I've gotten emails from people that are older and hitting the ball better and enjoying life, and it's wonderful that I'm giving back to the game. That's the reason why I do what I do. So if you're interested in any of this, I'm available for the Zoom lessons, the one-on-one, and my rkswingking.com has the membership. So once a week, I get to look at your golf swing and make sure that you're on the right track. Let's see. There you go. Is tilt and stack good on the back? No, not to me. So because so if I go here, I'm tilting here and then staying here left and all that. My spine just to is all going together here to set post from right as I'm throwing. So that's the pain-free way of doing it. If you start leaning left and staying left, rotating around just one socket of the pelvis, yeah, it's probably not the best way to do it. How to get the hands further forward at impact? It's not the hands. Don't think about the hands going further. Think about the arm, extending the arm. See, this is just I want the hand to do this. So hand winds up, and then I just want this whole arm to go out there. And just like you're out there. And Mo Norman had a great way of saying it. He shakes hands with the flag stick. So he just took his arm out there and felt like he was shaking hands with a flag stick out there. That's another good way of saying it. Whew. All right, great question. So can I use the hack motion? So you can. Um, Now the thing about it though is I'm trying to, and I even had one for a bit. I was going to make a video on it and all that kind of stuff, and I didn't need all of the feedback. Um, I'm again seeing the arm go that way and the club go that way. And so I'm visualizing this. I don't want you guys thinking I'm at 6 degrees extension and I'm taking the golf club back to a certain level here and it's going law here and it's going here and then you're constantly looking at it. Now, if you want to train your hands to do that, fine. Now, this is the other thing that I noticed um, is they really prefer your wrist to be not just neutral, but ever probably so slightly um, bowed, ever so slightly. And then they want you to maintain that as it's coming down to where the shaft is forward out in front and then through. And so my hand has a teeny bit of a cup here because that's where my grip address position is. So it stays the same. And that allows me to bend my wrist to throw further. And the longest drive guys will always have that compared to that. And so it did not work for me throwing. And so I just said, no, I can't. I'm not going to make a video about it and move on. So I hope that helps. You can play around with it and see maybe with the settings and stuff like that. But I'm more of a feel player, and that was way more technical stuff. Thank you, Iggy. Thanks for liking and subscribing. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna let you guys enjoy. I think we got a football game coming up here in about an hour. Um, let's see, one more question here. Been working on the swing for about a month now, and definitely has freed up my swing. All right, I tend to lose shots to the left at times. Is that an alignment issue or a throwing issue? It's a throwing issue. Yep. So if you tend to lose shots to the left, then either A, your grip is a little bit weak position like this. So then when you get to the top of the swing, the wrist bone is a little bit flat or laid off, and then when you go, it goes left that way. Also, just practice with the right hand, winding the right hand up, and then throwing the arm of the target and feeling the hand go under. Now, again, don't do this with the hand. Just feel as the arm goes that the hand is going under. Okay, like that. So, all right, guys. I hope everybody has a great day, and I look forward to working with you guys on the Zooms or the memberships, or seeing you on my next live. And thanks for liking and subscribing. And everybody have a good day.